morning, everybody. Hopefully you are prepared for a good Thanksgiving coming up here later this week. So our whole conversation today is going to be a little bit about that. So first thing is our Thanksgiving hours for 5Q and ECA marketing will be closed at 2 p.m. on Wednesday and closed on Thursday and Friday. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and how to make things go a little bit better for you. You know, when you have large gatherings, does everybody get along, or you always got that one relative that just kind of rubs you the wrong way, or wants to cause problems, or whatever it may be? So we're going to talk a little bit about today and how you handle those people, but more importantly, how we can use those same skills to have a better life, have a better relationship with our family, have a better relationship with our clients, how we bring in more clients that way, etc. So it's something that I talk about often, at least once a year. And these are things that we know, but we forget. In fact, some of the things I'm going to show you, I actually have a laminated copy of these things, and I read it once a week. Why do I read it once a week? I'll tell you, because even though I read it once a week, guess how long it takes for me to ignore some of the things that are on that laminated sheet? A week, a day, or hours sometimes, minutes even sometimes. So you have to constantly be reminding of these little things. And there's two books. There's two books that I have worn out multiple copies of. One is called The University of Success by Og Mandino, and it's a series of short reads that you can read in probably 20 minutes at most. And he doesn't write them. He's actually taken excerpts from all sorts of other writers, from all the way back to Ben Franklin to more recent writers, and little life lessons. But the other book that I've worn out multiple copies of is this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this is the thing that's laminated on my desk, and I read it once a week simply because I ignore these principles constantly, and I ignore them at my risk. But at my own risk. But because I've been doing this since I was in the Navy, so that's what, 40-some years ago, I've been reading this book over and over and over again. I am a better person because of that. God knows what I would be like if it hadn't been for me constantly going back to this. But there are things that we constantly forget. But if we did these things, your life is going to be better. The people's lives around you is going to be better. You're going to have a more successful family life, a more successful business. And so I think it's well worth walking through these principles. First one is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This is one that I will read, and within 5 minutes, I'll read something in the news, and guess what I'm doing? Criticizing, or I'm condemning, or I'm complaining. But if you think about it, what is accomplished by criticizing, condemning, or complaining? Excuse me a second. Is anything accomplished? No, not a single thing is accomplished. And when nothing's accomplished, but can bad things come from these things? First of all, when you criticize, condemn, or complain, what's it do to your mentality for moving forward, solving problems, getting things done, creating better relationships? What's it do for that? Yeah. John, attitude towards self and others. It's negative, right? Everybody's saying negative. You're exactly right. So this is the first thing. Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. The other one, which we do use, and I do use this one a lot. Unfortunately, I break this one constantly through the day, and it's a constant challenge for me not to do these things. This one I've learned to be much better at. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Do we leverage this heavily in the 5Q system? Give honest, sincere appreciation. Yes, we do, with one of the tools. What's the one tool that we use that gives honest, sincere appreciation? Empower. Very good, Tom. Empower. That's right. There's nothing I need so much as nourishment for my self-esteem. So people want to know that they are appreciated. Charles Schwab, again, not the investment company, but the real Charles Schwab, the American steel magnate, Bethlehem Steel became the second largest steel maker in the United States and one of the most important heavy manufacturers. He was one of the moguls. He was one of the huge industrialists of U.S. history. And he said, I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among men, the greatest asset I possess. Not his steel factory, not all his money, but his ability to arouse enthusiasm among men, the greatest asset I possess. The way to develop the best that is in a man is by appreciation and encouragement. Now, when people first come on, they don't like the fact that we empower people, which is an odd thing, but they think it's insincere, it's flattery. Is giving honest, sincere appreciation the same thing as flattery, guys? No. So let's see, the next slide is going to be about this. What is the difference between flattery and give sincere and honest appreciation? What's the difference? Well, let me give you an example. I'm trying to chat up a girl, and I say, "Oh, you're pretty, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. You must have fell out of the sky. You're an angel. You're beautiful." Why does she not believe me? I'd agree, Jeff. Justice motivation, is see-through. Yeah, I would agree with that, but there's something different. Why wouldn't she believe me? Have I given her any reason why I think she's beautiful? Have I given her any reason why I think she's an angel? Or is that just a general, overall, that's right, not specific, Nick? See, the difference between flattery and praise is specificity. So if I say to a client, "Oh, you're so smart, that's a great answer, you're so smart, I can't believe you gave me that answer, that you're a genius." Is that flattery or is that praise? Flattery, because that's right, Mark. It's very, very general. So when we got people, when we use empowering, when we go ape on somebody, what are we doing there? Do we say, "Oh, you're a genius, you're smart, I can't believe you got that answer right"? No, we say, "I can't believe that you just answered that question right." I've probably asked 15 people that same question in the last month or so, and 3 of them got it right, one of them being you. I don't know if you've been educated in this. I don't know if you just have a natural inclination to understand it or you have insight, but whatever it is, it's amazing that you actually clued in to how that works. Kudos to you, because most people don't get that answer right. Most people don't understand that. Most people don't get that concept. So, wow, that allows me to spend a lot more time delving deeper and giving you a lot more information than the average person because you understand these things. Now, is that general or specific when I do it that way? I didn't mention the thing that they said, but I'm complimenting them on their genius or on their one answer? On their overall brilliance or just on that one answer when I do empower that way? Very specific. That's right, John. Just on that one particular answer. I didn't say they were a genius. I just said their understanding of that one topic is unbelievable. So see, that's what you're talking about. Instead of telling a girl, "You're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful," you say, "Well, do you mind? I'm sorry to bother you, but I just got to ask you, where did you get those shoes? Those shoes are awesome. I have to be. Christmas is coming up. My sister loves shoes, but I'm always at a loss on where or what to get her. Do you mind if I ask you where you got those shoes? Because those are awesome. My sister would love those shoes." Now, is that flattery or is that sincere and honest appreciation? Is that general or is that specific? See, and how long would that woman remember that compliment? Every time, how many times when she puts on those shoes is she going to reflect back to that particular conversation? That's how I made her feel. If I said, "Oh, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful," how long before she forgets that conversation? It's the same thing with a client. She says, "You're smart, you're smart, you're smart." They're going to say, "Shut up." But if you tell them, compliment them on their understanding of a specific concept, that's going to stick with them a long time. And how much do people like us when we make them feel good about themselves? How much time do you want to spend around somebody who makes you feel good about yourself? Think about your grandchildren or your children and how they relate to their grandparents. Which grandparent do they want to spend time with? The one that's constantly criticizing them, that doesn't have enough time to them, that says the children should be seen and not heard, or the grandparent who constantly lavishes praise on the child? And do we ever grow out of that? Do we ever grow out of that as human beings? Professional athletes that make millions and millions of dollars, what do they want? I mean, of all they're the best in the world. It should not matter to them. They've got more money than God. Should it matter to them what somebody says about them and their play? And even a professional athlete, if you said, "Man, you're a great player. You're a great player. You're a great player," would that have more effect on them and say, "You know what? The way you I don't even know basketball terms. I have to get Jeff in here. But the way you do that one thing is unbelievable. That's what I want my kid to learn." If he learns nothing else about basketball, if he learns that one thing, that's what they want to hear. Everybody, it affects everybody. Sincere and honest appreciation, such a great tool. Number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Okay, so this is a great question. Do we do that with a 5Q system? Arouse in the other person a great want. We do. And what is the great want we arouse in them? I don't know if Dale Carnegie completely appreciated with what we're doing with the 5Q system, but he could not argue that when the 5Q system is done correctly, that we do arouse in them an eager want, which aligns with what we want. Very good. Tom's got it. Nick's got it. Who else? Come on, somebody else. Guys, everybody should be boom, 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 boom. You should all know this. What is the eager want? That's right. Jeff's got it. Leave their advisor. Do we want them to leave their advisor? Yes. But if we tell them, you need to leave your advisor, you need to leave your advisor, you need to leave your advisor, they're going to say, yeah, I get that you're telling me that because you want to make money on me too, just like my advisor does. So they don't believe us. But what we do with the 5Q system is we arouse an eager want in that person. That person decides, I need to leave my advisor. It has nothing to do with us. It has to do with what they want. Just so happens to align with what we want. If there's any one secret to success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from our own. So we got to see things from the other person's angle. If all we do is say, I'm an expert, I don't want to do this 5Q system, asking all these questions is silly. Motivational interviewing, that's such a waste of time to learn that. I'm an expert. They should believe me. So when I tell them that they're having a lousy situation and I can put them in a better situation, they should believe me. Guys, from the client's point of view, what are they thinking? If that's how we approach it, which is how many advisors approach it that way. Look at me. I've got what you're doing is wrong. I can do better. Look at my thing. It's a lot better than what you're doing. Yeah, they all do that. So what is the client thinking? From the client's point of view, what do they hear when they hear that from an advisor? They hear, of course you're going to say that. Of course you're going to say my situation is lousy. Of course you're going to say that you have a better situation. Because if I believe you that my situation is lousy, if I believe you that you have a better situation, I will move my money to you and you will make money off of me. So the reason you're telling me those things is not because you care about me. It's because you want to make money off of me. And so many advisors have a hard time understanding that because they don't see it from the client's point of view. They see it from their own point of view, which is, I'm here to help. I would never hurt anybody. I'm doing this honestly. I'm actually trying to help these folks. Is that the way a prospect looks at it, that you're out there trying to help them? How many prospects actually think that you're out there to help them? I'll tell you, there are prospects out there that think you're out there to help them. How much money do they have? A lot or not very much? They don't have very much money. And the reason they think you're out to help them is because not many advisors have been chasing after them. So when they finally find an advisor who will help them, they're like all in. But somebody with money, how many times have they been chased? How many times have they been pursued? Many times. So they think, you're just like everybody else. You're just telling me those things. So you got to view it from the other person's point of view. That's why we have to invest in motivational interviewing so that they come to their own want. That they don't do it because we tell them to. They do it because they want to do it. Become genuinely interested in other people. If we want to make friends, let's put ourselves out to do things for other people, things that require time, things that require energy, unselfishness, and thoughtfulness. Do we do this with the 5Q system? How do we do this? We do this many, many ways with the 5Q system. See, because the thing is that we have a catch-22 in the advisory business. They don't know how much we care, and we can't show them how much we care until they work with us. See, they're not going to work with us until we show them we care, but we can't show them how much we care until they work with us. But with the 5Q system, we do, or are able to do that. How do we do that? Do we get paid for the non-financial things? Does that require time? Does that require energy to learn how to present that? Does that require unselfishness? I used to tell people, I make $1 million a year by doing things I don't get paid for. Because I used to just do the financial things, and I was making $50,000 a year when I was doing just covering the financial things. It was when I started covering the non-financial things that my advisory business exploded. And it's the same with all the guys that come on to the system. Let's look at another reason we do this. So people will ask me, Mike, with the epidemic marketing, with the monthly newsletters, should I email it or should I mail it? Snail mail it. What do I tell them? U.S. mail or email? U.S. mail or email? Which one? Yeah, U.S. email. Why? U.S. mail. Why? Because it tells them that what? Did it take time to print that, put it in the envelope, put a stamp on it, get it to the post office? It shows that I took, that's right, Sue. It shows that I took time, energy, and selfishness. How much time does it take to press a button to send an email to a gazillion people? How many, let's see how many you can remember this. I don't think I've talked about this for a while. When I was making $1 million a year, how many handwritten notes was I sending out per month? See if anybody remembers this. Making $1 million a year, and I still, 200, very good, Nick and Dale got it, 200 a month. 200 a month. Some of them were client anniversaries where the date that they came on with me. So I'd write them, hey, you've been with me for a year. You've been with me for 7 years. Thanks for being a client, blah, 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 blah. It could be their birthday. It could be Christmas cards. It was all, but 200 handwritten notes went out every single month. How many guys making $1 million a year send out 200 handwritten notes? And do I still, making as much money as I do right now, which is way more than that, so do I still send out handwritten notes? Guys, do those kind of things. Another principle, smile, smile, smile. Even the most unattractive person, when they smile, becomes attractive. Even the most untrustworthy person becomes more trustworthy when they smile. There is so much power in a smile. And you got to constantly remind you to do this all throughout the day. Because if you don't remind yourself, many people, this comes naturally. I'm not a natural smiler. So I have to constantly remind myself to smile, because that has the unbelievable amounts of power. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Every single day, I'm not naturally inclined to remember people's names, but every single day I probably run through all the people that I know around me, names, neighbors, acquaintances, etc., in my head, probably an average of 5 to 10 minutes a day, just to constantly remember their names. Because when you remember somebody's name, it has a huge amount of power, and it does not come to me naturally. I have to work at it. But it's a power well worth nourishing. Learn people's names. How many times have you had a conversation with somebody, a brand new person, and by the time that conversation's done, you've forgotten the person's name? Does that ever happen to you? And how often does that happen to you? What do you need to do? And why did that happen? Why did that happen? Because how much attention did you pay to them when they told you what their name was? How many times did you use their name in that conversation? Did you allow yourself to walk away from that conversation without saying, it was very, very nice to meet you, Fred. You got to learn, and yeah, I do. That's how John says, write down their names. I have a list of all my neighbors' names and their kids' names that we have, and I regularly go through and look at it just to make sure, because we don't, we live in the same kind of neighborhood everybody else does, where you drive, everybody drives home, garage door goes down, and you don't see them. You might not see some of your neighbors for 3 or 4 months at a shot. I mean, do you live in neighborhoods like that? But when I'm out in the summer, guess what? I remember their names. And what do you think about they think about me when I know their names and their kids' names? Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Do we do this with 5Q? Of course we do. How to win friends and influence people. Talk in terms of other people's interests. If you talk to people on topics they are passionate about, you will witness them come alive. And guys, do we create passion? If you do the 5Q system right, do we create passion that they want to leave their current advisor right now? Have you guys heard tapes where I've played tapes of advisors talking with clients where the clients are actually asking, can I move the money when I'm on vacation? Can I call you when I'm on vacation and get that money moved? That's passion. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. How do we do that? Guys, have you put the marquee outside your office yet where you say, welcome to the Smiths, welcome to the Johnsons, welcome to the Macmillans? How much does it cost to put a marquee, a little tiny marquee? You can get it from Costco, Walmart, online, $12, $15. You could put their name right outside the door. Welcome to the Smith. What do you think that makes you feel like when you walk in and it says that? It's a huge deal. Are you all using the wow experience? This is, again, under marketing, low-cost marketing. We have all these different things, the wow experience. To turn your office into an unbelievable, powerful tool to make people feel important would cost you about $150 total. Is $150 worth making every prospect, every person that walks into your office feel unbelievably important? Even if it's a wholesaler walking into your office, and if you did that, would you get different service from that wholesaler? Would clients or prospects think differently than you? Would clients think differently than you? Would clients brag more about you? For $150, I've been talking about this for 20 years, and still, guys that have been with me for 10, 15 years have not implemented. And every time I talk to them, they say, what? Yeah. See, that's why I have these calls that will talk about these things that we know is important, we know we should do, and it's that we forget to do. So please, 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 if you haven't implemented this, implement that WOW system. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Do we argue with prospects or clients? Never. See, let the other person save face. We never say you're wrong. If they give us the wrong answer to one of our questions, should we ever say, yeah, but? No, yeah, but. What does yeah, but say? It says you're wrong. We should say yes, and then what word should we after say yes? Instead of yes, yeah, but, we should say yes, and. That's right. Yes, and. Very good, John. Yes, and. So when somebody answers our question wrong, for example, an easy example is that you say, Mr. and Mr. Client, what is the power of attorney for? And they'll say, it's for when you die. Has anybody ever had that happen where a client has said that? When's the power of attorney used? Well, when you die. A lot of times. But do we want to tell them, well, no, that's not actually what it's for. That's what a will and trust is for. And I hear this too often on a tape where this happens, where they say, because you want to say, well, I don't want the client to be wrong, so I got to correct him. No, you don't. As soon as you correct somebody, how does it make them feel? And I don't care how nice you are. I don't care when somebody tells you that you're wrong, and they don't have to say you're wrong. They could be very nice and say, "Well, that's not actually how it goes. It goes like this instead." You're singing a song, and they say, "Oh, well, that's not actually how it goes. It goes like this instead." Does that make you feel good or make you feel foolish? Does it make you like that person or make you not want to be around that person? So what's the right way? If somebody answers a question wrong, we don't say yes, but we say yes and. So if they, let's say, use that example where they say power of attorney is for your debt. What the first thing you want to do is say yes and then you want to tell them why they're right. So I got to figure out a way to tell them why they're right, even if they're wrong. Well, in this example, I would say, what's the power of attorney for? What's for when you die? And I say yes. And when you think about it, we go to the attorney and we get all these forms that they charge us for our estate planning purposes. We get wills, we get trusts, we get, like you said, powers of attorney. And the powers of attorney is for when we're incapacitated and when we can't take care of ourselves. The will and the trust is for when we've actually what? Well, when we died. Yeah, so the will and the trust is for when we what? Died. And the power of attorney is when we're alive, but we can't take care of what? Ourselves. Did I tell them they were wrong? Or did I allow them to come up with the right answer themselves? To allow them to come up with the right answer, so nobody has to feel foolish. Nobody has to feel wrong. So I find a way, and is it right when I said yes and, power of attorney is one of those documents that the attorney comes up with. They come up with wills, they come up with trust, they come up with powers of attorney. So did I tell them that they're right, that powers of attorney are drafted by attorneys? Yes, I told them they were right. Yeah, so they say, yeah, that's right. I say, so the wills and the trust, that's for when we've, kicked the bucket and we're gone up to the pearly gates. That's what our loved ones use to take care of our affairs. So that's when we're dead. Now, when we're alive but we're incapacitated, we don't use the will, we don't use the trust, we use the what? We use the power of attorney. Exactly, you got it. See, that makes them feel like they answered the question wrong or they answered the question right. I allow them to save face. Always when you're talking with people, begin with praise and honest appreciation. So let's talk about when we talk about a VA. What's the first thing we do when we talk about a VA? Tell them VA suck? Or we go through the fact that, hey, does this VA charge you to move accounts? No. Does this VA have a lot of choices? Yes. Does this VA tell you that cause you tax problems? No. So we begin with praise and honest appreciation. We say that thing you bought was what? It's got a lot of good things happening. Then I call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. So do I point out all the problems of their that they have with a VA, or let them discover them for themselves so they can be the smart guy? So we use all of these principles throughout the 5Q system. They're embedded. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing other people. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Make the fault easy to correct. Make the other person happy. How about make the fault easy to correct? How do we begin our 21-point checklist meetings? That you have all sorts of problems and they're huge and it's going to take a lot of work? Or we say, hey, you've done all the heavy lifting. Let's be honest here. You've done all the heavy lifting. You've been saving fantastically for the last 30, 40 years. You built up a great retirement account by your discipline and your ability to invest and save. And you've paid down your debt. You have very little debt. You'd be amazed at how many people I find that still have huge amounts of debt in retirement. So you've done all the heavy lifting. You've gotten out of debt. You've created great income, great assets. Anything that I would propose, they'd be simple and easy. So what have we said? That they've got huge problems, or that they've done all the heavy lifting and anything we'd want would be quick and easy? Yeah, that's right, Nick. Make the other person happy about doing what you suggest. And again, we talked about that, which is what? I'm not even going to suggest it. I'm going to make the other person happy about leaving their guy. I'm not even going to suggest it. I'm going to let them come to their own conclusion. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. So when I ask a question and they're confused, what's the first thing that should come out of my mouth? I ask a question, they don't know the answer. It's very apparent to me that they're confused. They're starting to struggle. That's right. I say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How would you possibly be able to know the answer to that question? I don't know how I could be so foolish as to think you would know that when I didn't even give you enough information. That's my fault. I apologize. I apologize when they can't answer a question, because whose fault is it if they can't answer a question? It is my fault, and I should admit it quickly and emphatically. Let the other person do a great deal of talking. Isn't that what a motivational interviewing is about? When we have a brilliant idea, instead of making it others think it is ours, why not let them cook and stir the idea themselves? Guys, with the FIA presentations, do I ever tell them my great idea? Or do I let them learn about it themselves with a bunch of questions over an hour time period? If I tell them an FIA is a great idea, they think, what? Yeah, of course you're going to say that because you want me to buy it so you can make money off of me. So how many statements in a great FIA presentation, how many statements should be made? In an hour-long FIA presentation, how many statements should be made? That's right, none. Zero. Zippo. Any idea we're talking about should be made by who? Anything worth talking about should be made by who? Them. And anything that's not important should not be made. So if it's important, it should be made by them. If it's not important, don't bother saying it. So that means in an hour, how many statements should you make? None. And when I ask guys, what's the rule? What is the rule we use for a presentation? If it's an hour-long presentation, if I hear how many questions during that hour, well, I know the guy's making at least $500,000 a year. If I listen to an hour-long FIA presentation, how many questions do I have to hear to know the guy's making at least $500,000 a year? It should be one per minute. So if it's an hour long, they should have 60 open-ended questions if they're making over $500,000 a year. And I guarantee you that is the case. How many open questions do I ask per minute? 1, 2, or 3, or 4? It's a lot more than 1. That's right, 2 to 5, yeah. Because anything I say is not worth saying. You must say it to believe it. They must say it to believe it. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. See, all these things are embedded in the 5Q system. You can dramatize your ideas in business or any other aspects of your life. Do we dramatize our ideas? When we talk about risk-reward, and we talk about that diagonal line that we draw through there, what do we use? How do we dramatize that? That diagonal line that goes through the risk-reward graph, how do we dramatize that? What's the story we talk about? It's the zero line. What do we talk about, though? How do we dramatize it? So in their mind, cable TV, that's right. Cable TV. If you were given the option, let's say that your son has moved into an apartment building and they had cable, and they were given 100 channels of cable absolutely free. 100 channels of cable absolutely free, crystal clear cable, and then somebody knocks on your son's door selling, or calls them up on the phone selling cable, and it's 50 channels, not 100, it's half as many, it's 50 channels, and they want to charge them $100 a month. What should your son say? Would he rather have 100 channels for free or 50 channels at $100 a month? What does every client say? I mean, that's drama. In their mind, they're saying, we're not talking about facts, we're not talking about figures, we're not talking about investments that many of them don't understand. Does everybody understand cable channels and a cable bill? How many people understand that and can visualize that in their head? Cable channels, yeah, everybody can. And how many people are going to answer that wrong? Well, I think they should get 50 at $100. And does anybody answer that wrong? No. So then when I show them the zero line saying, listen, so this line here costs you nothing. This line here costs you nothing. You can get into an index, and if you get into a safe index, it'll make you less. If you get into a more risky index, it makes you more. That's why it goes diagonally up. More risk, more return. But there are all these indexes, and they virtually cost you nothing to buy. So if your funds are above this line, you're being charged for more or less cable channels. You're being charged for less cable channels. You're being charged for less return for more risk. And are you being charged a little bit or a lot? We've already talked about how much you're being charged. You're being charged $7,500 a year. And again, you're being charged $7,500 for better reception on your cable, more channels on cable, or you're being charged for less reception, less channels. Are you getting more return or less return? More risk or less risk? See, by dramatizing that, they get it. If I just go into risk-reward, how many people work with investments every single day of their lives? They'd be do-it-yourselfers. They wouldn't be talking to you. So we have to change these more complicated. We think they're simple topics. Risk-reward is a simple topic to us. Standard deviation is simple to us. It's not to them. We have to turn it into something simple, and we do that by dramatizing the ideas. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Do I do that with empowering? Yes, that's exactly what I do. So there's so many things in how to win friends and influence people. You cannot read this book enough, cannot read it too often. This will change your life. And again, you won't be able to, at least I haven't been able to implement after doing it for 40 years, all these things. But I have to be aware of these things to constantly remind myself. So here's some 10 golden nuggets from this particular person's point of view was smile, simple but effective. Instead of having a negative sandwich, have praise, construct and praise. Say my name. People's names are the most important thing. You win arguments by avoiding them. We don't argue with the 5Q system. Say easy yes. Easy yes, then ask for more. This is one I don't agree with. One of the things that Carnegie says is get them saying yes and often. Do we do that with 5Q system? Getting them saying yes and saying yes often, soon and often. Do we do that with the 5Q system? What is the word yes worth? What is the word yes worth? That's right, everybody's getting it. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Because I can say yes if I don't agree with you. I can say yes if I agree with you. I can say yes if I don't even understand what you're saying. Yes is a filler. It means nothing. So that's the only one I would disagree with is you have to ask open-ended questions. They have to tell you what they want. Yes is not a good answer. Sincere compliment, yes, absolutely. That's the one. Empowering. Give you a reputation to live up to. Again, empowering. Invest in interest. Talk about what they like to talk about. Get them talking. Give credit to others. Do we ever, here's a good one, give credit to others. At the beginning of a seminar, do we ever talk about ourselves at the beginning of a seminar? Talk about how many years have we been in the business, how many qualifications we have, how many licenses I have. No, we never do. We have that running in some slides while they're waiting for this thing to start, but once we start, we don't brag about ourselves. We get right into the topic, what they came to see. So we follow that. And then stop moaning. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So please, guys, do what I did. Read this book. Put these things, and even online, there's lots of different resources online that will actually give you the highlights of this book or of Carnegie's thoughts. Laminate it. Look at it daily. Live at it. Okay. Here's a little book summary. We all have innate, unquenchable desire to know we are valued. Yet affirming this in each other is among the most challenging things to do in our day and age. We all have this desire, but yet telling your wife or your kids that you love them on a regular basis, letting the clients be right instead of you be right, letting the clients be an expert instead of you be an expert, it's a hard thing to do. And if we don't remind ourselves daily to do that, we're not going to do it. So that's why you need to have this at your beck and call, review it constantly, daily, if necessary. I do it weekly. I should do it daily, but I do it at least weekly to remind you this is how you should live your life. Makes your life better, your family's life better, your business more successful. People around you are going to love you more. Make sense? So I love all you guys. I appreciate your being with 5Q. I can't tell you how much I do appreciate that. Your hard work, your attention, your uh, um, willingness to stick with us. We all appreciate you. This is the week that we thank all the people in our lives. So we thank you for being part of 5Q, being part of ECA. I hope you all have and your family have a wonderful and very happy Thanksgiving, and we will all get together, reconvene next Monday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Appreciate you guys.